Hey everyone, welcome back. Finding something healthy to eat in New York City is, well, can be very difficult sometimes, right? Especially if you live in a low income area. Well, now, thanks to a program called Plantega, people will now have access to vegan food at their local bodega. The program initially began with a 12-week program at 3 bodegas and now has expanded to 15 bodegas. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome Plantega Co-Founder Erick Castro. Hi, Erick. Welcome.
Hello. How's it going?
We're good. We're good. Bueno, I just like the name itself. So let's start with there, Plantega.
I was going to, first thing on my mind was I need to congratulate her for saying Plantega that way. That was the most soulful Plantega I've ever heard. I just wanted to share that. That was super soulful, and that made me so excited to hear.
I love the name. I love it. I love it's a combination of two words, right?
Yeah.
Plant and bodega.
Yes. Plant-based and bodega.
Plant-based and bodega. All right. So obviously, if you're not getting, the gist of what we're discussing, we're discussing veganism, right? So let's just start with that then. Let's start with like when you became a vegan, why you became a vegan, and then we can kind of share with everyone this beautiful, amazing concept that I'm totally into right now.
Yeah. So I started a vegan diet maybe almost 7 years ago. I had a great friend of mine that would just constantly telling me like, don't eat animals, don't do this, and the planet this and the planet that. And growing up in New York City, you don't really have connections with animals besides like the rats and pigeons and the dogs you own. So I didn't have that connection. And one day I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it just because, you've been acting for so long. I'm going to give it 30 days. I'm going to go pescatarian, which means I was eating dairy and seafood, just not any meat from the land. And it was a huge change for me. And I did that for a year. And ever since then, I went straight to a plant-based diet.
Well, I thank you for sharing that. And the reason I say I'm into it is because I'm gradually shifting into becoming a vegan myself. And it is a process. I stopped eating red meat a long time ago. However, there's still the chicken and the fish. And but then there's this consciousness, right? So it's not just solely about the diet. It's about the consciousness, a collective consciousness of environmental justice, right? And so this whole transition has become a little challenging because of the fact, which is where your product comes in. It's not exactly easy to find vegan dishes in local venues.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about Plantega in the forms that you've created, right? So based on everything I've researched, right, and you just informed me that there's one close to where I live, which I'm really excited about, but it's a refrigerator that is vegan based, right? But then there's also grills that also cook vegan. And so is that like a course or something? Like talk to me about the whole structure.
Yeah, so what we do is we reach out on social media, and we also put the footwork in, walk around New York City. We try to figure out locations that currently don't have plant-based options, or locations where you would never expect people to even think about eating a plant-based. And we go to the bodegas and we just pitch the idea of, hey, we have all these plant-based items at a great price. We work directly with these companies. We can provide you an entire plant-based menu for the grill if you can dedicate us half of the grill to strictly the plant-based meals. And we'll train the cooks. We'll come by. We'll do all the PR, the marketing, which is something that bodegas never had. And now we have this platform where, we should highlight other items that they have, the people that work there. And, 9 out of 10 times the bodega owners are like, hey, I'll love to give it a try. Let's see if it works. And they usually love the feedback. The community comes, they bring positive energy. They're spending their money, in their community, which is huge. And it's been a huge blessing. Sometimes I feel like it's like almost too good to be true.
It's an amazing concept. I mean, you know, I may be speaking from a personal perspective, and as a Latina, right? And I'm saying this because my my transference is all about taste buds, right? So it's kind of like, listen, if it tastes good, I'm gonna eat it, right? Obviously, if it's better for my body, I prefer it. However, you know, I'm not necessarily interested in sacrificing my palates, you know?
No, I totally understand. Food has a strong connection with memories, especially like heritage and, you know, family members, especially the ones that are not here with us. And, you know, making that plant-based change, it's hard to let those things go sometimes, but, you know, you can also still learn how to make things with those similar textures and flavors, which is, it's a huge thing, you know, like, for example, I grew up eating sausage, egg, and cheese in bodegas for breakfast for middle school and high school, almost every single day. And now the fact that we have these same sandwiches, just all plant-based, it's like I'm making a better choice. And at the same time, I don't have to forget where I come from or leave these things that I've loved for so many years behind, except, you know, minus the animal and affecting of the planet.
Right. And so, and if I heard you correctly, you're saying that you actually train the chefs or the people cooking the dishes in the bodegas to make it taste exactly like as if though they were eating meat.
Yeah, it's so it's just a funny thing because I've trained all the locations, so it's usually like they're kind of clueless or confused what vegan is, so they'll like, is that a real egg or is that a real sausage? And I would tell them like, hey, I'm gonna cook this with you, and we're gonna make it almost the same exact way as you make the regular one. So the same way you wrap it, the same way you add specific seasonings to it, the same kind of texture you want to have on both sides. We want to aim for that same exact way, just with these new products. And in the beginning, they're a little hesitant of like, is this, you sure this is going to work? And, you know, after they make the sandwich and they show a customer or they try the food out themselves, they're pretty surprised. Like, wow, this is totally different. I've working this bodega for 10 years. I never thought we'll be having vegan eggs here or plant-based burgers here. Yeah, so it's that should be a show of its own.
Right. And we do want to share with the viewers that also comes from you having a restaurant for very many years that you happen to close down over the pandemic, which basically left the space and it allowed you to create this new concept of Eat Plantega. Well, that's at least the handle's names, but just the Plantega concept itself and the fact that you continue expanding. I understand that these you just made 15, having just recently opened in 2 additional stores this past week.
Yeah, we're on 14th Street, the 2 latest stores, 14th Street and 19th Street. 2 areas that are it's very close to each other. But quick fun fact, in 19th Street, when my grandparents came here from Puerto Rico, they lived in the projects that's across the street from the bodega. And I still have family in that projects. And when I went plant-based, they were like, what are you doing? Like, I would go visit them and only be able to eat such a small amount of the whole table full of food. Now they're super open to it. And the fact that there's a Plantega right across the street, just so much hope, so much positivity around there. It's amazing.
All right, and I just want to, before we go, because we got to wrap up, I want everybody to be clear that it isn't solely downtown. It's uptown Manhattan. They're in the Bronx. I think you're in Brooklyn too, right?
Yeah, we have a few Brooklyn locations. We're in Washington Heights. We're downtown, the Bronx, Midtown. Where the next big steps for us is getting more locations in the Bronx and getting our first location in Staten Island.
Wonderful. Erick Castro, everyone. And just in case, you know, because this segment went quicker than what I would have liked, you can just always go to their website to find out the nearest location. And I hope you get the gist of what we just discussed. Really, it's about knowing that there's certain local bodegas that are offering you plant-based food as well as plant-based cooked meals. Yeah. So, yeah, Erick Castro, great concept. Once again, you guys, for more, you can visit them on IG for updates at Eat Plantega. And if you're interested in some recipes, you can go to their website, eatplantega.com. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll get some fitness and wellness tips for the fall. Don't go anywhere.